Have you ever caught your reflection, maybe just walking past the hallway mirror, and paused, not because of how you looked, but because you didn't quite recognize the woman staring back? It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's just that quiet feeling, like something's faded, and you're not sure when it happened. But here's the truth I've learned. You don't need a drastic change to feel beautiful again. Sometimes a gentle shift, a new frame for your face, can bring back confidence, lightness, and that lovely sense of you. Today, I want to offer something tender. 5 haircuts that aren't about looking young. They're about feeling true, light, open, real. I remember lunch with my friend Nancy, not long ago. She's 67, retired nurse, practical to the bone. She leaned in and whispered, "Margaret, I think I've had the same haircut since '98. We laughed, but then she added, "I just want to look in the mirror and not feel invisible." That stayed with me, because it's not vanity, it's longing, to be reflected, as we are now, not who we were or who we're trying to be. So if your hair hasn't quite felt yours lately, stay with me. Let's walk through 5 haircuts that bring back more than bounce. They bring back belonging. Let's start with the gentlest lift of all. 1. The gentle lift. Soft layered bob. Have you ever caught a glimpse of yourself in the mirror, not out of vanity, just passing by, and paused? Not because something was wrong, but because something didn't quite feel like you anymore? The reflection is familiar, but the energy behind it, muted. That soft bounce, that light around the eyes, it's like it quietly walked out the door one morning without saying goodbye. That moment happened to me last spring, folding laundry by the hallway mirror. My hair, once full and lively, just sat there, flat, dragging the sides of my face down. And I remember thinking, not with sadness, but with a kind of tender noticing, this isn't me anymore, but maybe it could be again. That's when I returned to something simple, something forgiving, the soft, layered bob. Now, this isn't about a drastic change. No sharp angles, no trying to look younger. It's about bringing softness back, movement that lifts instead of weighs you down. The cut falls just below the chin with gentle, blended layers. What makes it special is that it doesn't scream for attention, but it gives your face a little light, a little shape, like the quiet friend who always knows what to say. My friend Eleanor, she's 70, lives in Santa Rosa, volunteers at the library, was wearing her hair in a long, straight style she'd kept since her 40s. She said it felt like armor. One afternoon, she finally let her stylist add face-framing layers and lighten the ends slightly. The next time we had coffee, she walked in wearing a pale green cardigan and that new cut, and I swear, her whole face had lifted. "I don't know if I look different," she said, "but I feel like I'm finally walking beside myself again." And that's the heart of it, isn't it? Sometimes we carry our tiredness in the silence of our hair. The weight of years, the things we've let go, they show up in strands that hang instead of flow. But a soft bob, done with care, gives the illusion of movement even when you're still. It hugs your jawline just enough to say, you're still here, and you're still beautiful. I wore mine with side-swept bangs and a bit of natural wave. No big styling tricks, just a little mousse and a gentle blow-dry with a round brush. What I loved most wasn't how it looked, but how it made me stand differently. Straighter, lighter, like someone had opened a window inside me. Hair doesn't always need to make a statement. Sometimes it's enough that it reminds you you're still becoming. So tell me, dear friend, when was the last time your haircut felt like a homecoming? 2. The bold reclaim, side-banged pixie. Do you remember the last time you did something bold, not because you had to, but because you finally gave yourself permission to? Not for attention, not for approval, just for you. That quiet thrill of looking in the mirror and thinking, ah, there I am. That's what the side-banged pixie cut did for my friend Joanne. She's 66, lives in Missoula, Montana. Former nurse, 3 grandkids, garden full of tomatoes. For years, she wore her hair shoulder length, tied back most days, hidden behind practicality. It was safe, she told me. Safe and a little invisible. One July morning, after a weekend with her sisters, who all still wore their hair short, smiling wide in every photo, Joanne made the call. She walked into her local salon and said, "I'm ready, but I don't want to look younger. I want to look awake." What she came out with was a soft pixie, not too short at the crown, and a sweeping side bang that danced right above her brow. And the shift? It wasn't just on her head. It was in her whole energy. "For the first time in years," she said, "I saw cheekbones again. And I saw me." The side-banged pixie isn't about being edgy or trendy. It's about uncovering, not covering. It works especially well if your hair has gotten thinner or finer. By removing excess weight and layering smartly at the top, it creates fullness exactly where you want it. And those side-swept bangs? They soften the forehead, draw the eye to your smile, and frame your face with intention, not apology. I'll be honest, I resisted it myself. For years I thought short hair would make me look hard, masculine. But what I didn't realize was this: done right, with softness and subtle texture, a pixie can be the most feminine thing in the world. Not girly, not delicate, but strong in a quiet way, like a woman who's done with hiding. What makes this cut so powerful is what it says, without saying a word. I've stopped asking for permission. And it's not about age, it's about alignment. When your hair matches how you feel inside, light, clear, unapologetic, suddenly everything else clicks. I wore a pixie with feathered edges and silver streaks the summer I turned 65. I paired it with my favorite linen shirts, some gold studs, and an old denim jacket that hadn't seen daylight in years. And I swear, neighbors I hadn't spoken to in months stopped to ask, "Did you do something different? You look happy." And they were right. I was. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is cut away what no longer reflects you, and step forward, uncovered and whole. Have you ever thought about going short? Not to erase anything, but to reclaim something? What's stopping you? 3. The soft spark, shoulder-length shag. You know that moment when you're brushing your hair in the morning, and it just sort of stays there? No bounce, no shape, just hanging, like it's tired too. I remember standing at the bathroom sink one Tuesday, pulling my sweater over my head and thinking, when did my hair stop moving? For years I'd kept it all one length, neat and safe. But somewhere along the way, safe started to feel invisible. And that's the quiet ache many women share but rarely speak out loud, when your hair no longer mirrors the woman inside. That's why the shoulder-length shag is such a soft revelation. It doesn't scream for attention, but it reminds you, you're still here, still vibrant, still dancing. This cut is light, textured, layered in a way that breathes, and it suits us, especially when hair starts to thin or flatten with time. Let me tell you about Marla. She's 65, lives just outside Denver, and still teaches piano part-time. Her hair had always been thick, but menopause changed the game. It became fine, heavy at the ends, and just sort of stuck to my head, she said. She'd wear it in a low ponytail most days, and avoided mirrors more than she realized. Her stylist suggested a soft shag, chin-framing layers, shoulder length, a bit of lift at the crown, and those delicate curtain bangs that part just enough to say, "Hello, I see you." The first morning after her haircut, Marla texted me a photo, no filters, just that smile, the kind that comes back when something inside settles into place. Here's why it works. The layering adds volume exactly where you need it, without creating bulk. It gives the illusion of fullness without stiffness. Those soft pieces around the cheekbones? They act like little paintbrushes, sweeping light back onto your face. It's also forgiving. You don't need a blowout or curling iron every day. It looks best when a little undone, like it belongs to someone who still walks with curiosity. Whether your hair is slightly wavy, straight, or something in between, this cut follows your natural movement, not the other way around. But underneath the cut, what's really changing is how you feel about your reflection. I often say, movement in hair awakens movement in spirit. There's something powerful about seeing yourself in the mirror and thinking, yes, that's me, that's still me. I tried the shag after turning 67. I didn't announce it to anyone, I just let it speak for itself. At my next lunch with the girls, Diana leaned in and said, "Did you do something different? You look lighter." And that was the word I didn't know I was waiting to hear. Lighter. So if you've been feeling like your hair has fallen flat, not just literally but emotionally, maybe it's time to reintroduce some movement. A shoulder-length shag doesn't change who you are. It just brings her back into view. Hair that moves reminds the world, and yourself, that you're still becoming. Have you ever tried a layered cut, or are you still holding on to that one-length look from years ago? I'd love to know. Tell me below. 4. The quiet frame. Chin-length blunt with soft layers. Do you ever look at an old photo, not from your youth, but maybe from 10 or 15 years ago, and realize you looked more alive than you feel now? Not because you were younger, but because something about your face seemed clearer, framed, defined. I remember sitting at the kitchen table with my friend Elise. She was flipping through old AARP magazines she'd saved, clipping out recipes and holiday crafts, when she paused at a photo of herself tucked into a page. "That's from 2009, she said softly. "And you know what's funny? My skin hasn't changed that much. But back then, my hair knew how to frame me." That sentence stayed with me. My hair knew how to frame me. There's something quietly powerful about a haircut that doesn't try to impress, but simply supports your features like a soft picture frame. And that's exactly what the chin-length blunt with soft layers does. Unlike heavy, overstyled looks or shapeless long cuts, this one is simple but intentional. It sits right at the jawline, creating a subtle line of definition where so many of us start to feel softness we didn't ask for. And those gentle interior layers, they bring back movement without stealing volume. Let me tell you about Diane. She's 71, lives in Ohio, and volunteers at her local library 3 days a week. Diane had worn her hair in a shoulder-length bob for over 20 years. She said it was safe and easy. But one day, in a dressing room at Kohl's, she caught a glimpse of herself under those fluorescent lights and thought, "Why do I look tired when I'm not?" Her daughter nudged her to try something shorter. Diane hesitated, worried it would look too harsh or momish, as she put it. But her stylist recommended a chin-length blunt cut with just enough softness to avoid any sharp lines. The result? Her face lit up. Her neckline looked sculpted, her eyes brighter, and most of all, she looked present. Why does this work so well? First, the chin length gives structure. It creates the illusion of a firmer jaw and lifts the lower half of your face. Second, the soft layers avoid bulk at the ends, so even if your hair is fine, it won't feel weighed down. And third, it draws the eye upward, toward the eyes, the cheekbones, the smile. It's also incredibly easy to maintain. You don't need mousse, curlers, or hours in front of the mirror. Just a round brush, 5 minutes with the blow dryer, and perhaps a drop of smoothing cream at the ends. It falls into place without fuss, like someone who's finally found her own rhythm again. And the emotional shift? That's where this cut really shines. After I tried it for myself, just after my 66th birthday, I noticed something subtle but deep. I'd glance in the mirror while brushing my teeth and feel defined, not just in my face, but in my presence. I wasn't trying to look younger. I was showing up fully, as I am. No hiding behind long layers, no pulling it back in a clip to avoid decision. Just me, clear and grounded. Sometimes it's not about changing how you look. It's about no longer dimming it. So, tell me this. When was the last time your haircut made you feel seen, not by others, but by yourself? 5. The graceful hold, long layers plus curtain bangs. Have you ever caught your reflection, maybe in the glass door at Trader Joe's or passing by the old mirror in the hallway, and for a split second felt surprised by the woman looking back at you? Not disappointed, not exactly sad, just unsure. Because something about your hair, your face, the way they meet, it doesn't quite feel like you anymore. That soft, flowing hair you once loved, it's still there. But now it feels heavier, flatter, like it's just hanging instead of holding you. And you wonder, quietly, can I still wear it long? Or have I outgrown that version of myself? But here's the truth. Length isn't the issue. Shape is. Because long hair can still feel fresh, flattering, and deeply feminine when it's shaped to move with you, not weigh you down. That's where long layers with curtain bangs become a quiet, beautiful turning point. Let me tell you about Ruth. She's 66, lives just outside of Boulder, and teaches watercolor classes at the local senior center. Ruth had kept her hair long since her 40s. It was her soft armor, she once told me. But somewhere along the way, she stopped wearing it down. Instead, she'd twist it into a clip or pull it into a bun, saying, "It's just easier this way." But one winter morning, sipping coffee and watching her granddaughter braid a doll's hair, Ruth looked in the hallway mirror and said aloud, "This isn't me." A week later, she walked into her salon with a torn page from Real Simple magazine in hand. The model wore soft curtain bangs and graceful, shoulder-sweeping layers. "I don't want to cut it all off," Ruth told her stylist, "but I want to feel seen again." The transformation wasn't drastic, but it was deep. The curtain bangs parted gently across Ruth's brow, softening her forehead and drawing attention to her blue eyes. The long layers lifted her hair from her shoulders, letting it move, really move, with every step. Suddenly, Ruth looked lighter, brighter, not younger in a forced way, just more herself. Why does this cut work so well? First, curtain bangs frame your face without closing it in. Unlike blunt bangs that can look harsh or high maintenance, curtain bangs open up your features. They gently part, either centered or slightly off, and soften everything. Brow lines, cheekbones, even tension you didn't know you were holding. They add a touch of romance, but still let your face breathe. Second, long layers give your hair life again. Many of us wear our hair all one length out of habit, but as we age, that uniform weight can drag the face down, making the hair feel heavy and tired. By introducing layers, especially starting around the cheekbones or jaw, you add shape and flow. Your hair moves again. It catches light. It frames your face instead of hiding it. Third, this look works with your texture, not against it. Whether your hair is slightly wavy, fine and straight, or has soft, natural curl, this cut honors your texture. It's not about forcing volume with rollers or burning it into shape with hot tools. It's about letting your hair move the way it wants to move, but with grace and intention. And the best part? It grows beautifully. The curtain bangs grow out softly, blending into the longer strands. The layers hold their shape without constant trimming, which means fewer salon visits, less fuss, and more freedom. I'll be honest with you. At 68, I didn't think I'd try bangs again. I thought that chapter had closed after the 80s, along with shoulder pads and perms. But last spring, on a quiet Tuesday, I asked for a soft fringe. Nothing too dramatic, just enough to sweep gently across my brow. And when I looked in the mirror afterward, I didn't look younger. I looked relieved, like I'd let go of something that had been weighing me down without knowing it. And that's what the right haircut can do. Not change you, but let you return to yourself. Sometimes, it's not about cutting more. It's about shaping what you've always had, so you can finally see it clearly again. So let me ask you gently, have you ever kept your hair long out of comfort, but lost the joy in it? And if yes, what would it feel like to shape it back into something that actually moves with your life now? I'd love to hear your thoughts below. Maybe share. Is there a haircut or a moment in the mirror you still remember? One that made you feel truly seen? We've walked through 5 haircuts, not as rules, not as trends, but as quiet invitations to return to the version of you that feels most right. Each cut we explored, the layered bob, the bold pixie, the soft shag, the sculpted blunt, the flowing long layers, offers more than a new shape. It's about softness, clarity, confidence. It's about the mirror finally saying back, yes, this is me. Because if lately you felt a little off, not sad, not unwell, just not quite yourself. Maybe it isn't age, maybe it's not even your hair, maybe it's simply time to let your reflection catch up to the woman you've quietly become. That doesn't require a drastic change. No scissors, no dye, unless you want it. Sometimes just shifting the part, or letting go of weight, or trying that fringe again. That's enough to say, I'm still here. I haven't faded. I've just been waiting. So here's a gentle question. Is there a haircut you once wore, maybe in your 40s or early 60s, that made you feel beautiful, free, seen? What would it feel like to try it again? Not to look younger, but to look true. And if someone you love has been feeling invisible lately, the friend who says, "Oh, I just put it in a clip now," the sister who avoids the camera, send this video to her. Let her know she's not alone, and she's not too late. Because in this season of life, we don't need to be anyone new. We just need the courage to become more ourselves. I'll be right here, with a soft blanket, a quiet mirror, and a warm pot of chamomile tea. And a reminder, you don't have to look younger, just more like you.